In this video, I have 32 tips and tricks for your Tesla. It doesn't matter if it's the new or old Tesla Model 3, Model Y, Model X, or Model S. The tips are pretty universal and can be applied to all Teslas. I bet there will be some tips that even long-time Tesla drivers don't know yet, so make sure to watch them all. I hope there will be a tip or two that will make your Tesla life easier. See you in a moment. Hi and welcome to Smart 2 Drive. It's me, Alec. Glad to have you tuning in again. As I just mentioned, I'm about to get into the car and show you lots of tips and tricks for your Tesla. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and activate the little bell so you don't miss any future videos. All about electromobility and loads of Tesla content. I'd also appreciate it if you share the video, especially with other Tesla drivers, so as many people as possible can benefit from the new tips and tricks. Let's get started. What many people don't know is that you can unlock the Tesla. Sure, you can unlock it with the smartphone app or with the NFC keycard by holding it here. But what most people don't know is that it also works with your smartphone. So if you have the Tesla app installed, you don't even need to open it. The only thing you need to do is disable your phone's lock screen, and then, using the NFC port, just hold your smartphone up to the Tesla sensor here. Then the car unlocks and you can lock it again the same way. So it's really simple, honestly a cool thing. Of course NFC rings and so on work too, but this is with the smartphone. It works just like that, without any extra programming. Most people probably didn't know that yet. If you're currently charging the car and want to end the charging process or unlock the charging cable so you can remove it, you usually have to either get into the car and do it on the display or use the smartphone app. All of that takes quite a while, but for some time now there's been a feature. All you have to do while the car is charging is open the rear door and hold the handle for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then the plug unlocks and you can simply pull it out. A common problem when parking in garages is that when you open the trunk lid, it hits the ceiling above and can get damaged. You can easily prevent this by setting the desired height once. For example, you just push the trunk lid down a bit. That would now be the desired height. All you have to do now is press and hold this button, the unlock button or the lock button, for about 3 seconds. And then this position will be saved. I'll show you how it's done. I'm holding it down now. It only takes a moment. Now there was a beep and the height has been saved. If I now open the trunk lid, it will only open up to the height I just set. But if I ever need it higher, I can just push it up manually again, and I can get in more comfortably. But what's even more practical now is that for some time there's been a new function here as well. You can now save the location, meaning the place where the Tesla is currently located. This trunk height can be saved if I want, but I can also delete it for this location. If I now select Save as default here, then the trunk will always open to exactly this height at this specific location that we just set. The huge advantage is that you only need to save the trunk height as low at certain places, like where there's a garage, for example, and as soon as you're somewhere else, the trunk lid opens normally. Just like you can now set the height of the trunk lid, you can also set it based on location, and the same applies to the side mirrors. If I now fold in the mirrors here at my current location, you see they fold in. I can also save this location now. When I do that, the mirrors will always automatically fold in at exactly that location. This has the huge advantage that, for example, if I save the location of a garage, the mirrors will always automatically fold in as soon as I approach that garage, making it easier for me to park. And I don't always have to fold in the mirrors manually. If I now unfold the mirrors, I can also remove the location at that point. That way it won't be saved anymore if the location is no longer needed. Personally, I really like the Tesla's door handles because they are so nicely integrated. The problem is, if it ever gets really icy, it can happen that you can't open the door handle anymore. In other words, when it rains and then freezes, you often have this problem. But the Tesla app provides a solution here. All you have to do is press and hold one of the 4 control elements at the top, any of them, and then this main menu will open at the bottom. And down here you'll see at the bottom the unlock door button. You just tap it once, and the driver's door pops open so you can simply open it without having to use the door handle. Really cool. But in winter, it's not just the door handle that's often frozen. The whole car can be iced over, so for example, the charging port might not open. Or maybe you just don't feel like scraping ice when you get to your car. There's also a function for this called Defrost Vehicle. With it, your Tesla will be completely ice-free within a few minutes. You can also open the charging port easily. And for example, the door as well, even if it's frozen shut, and you don't have to scrape ice anymore either. Another really cool feature in the app is that you have 4 control elements at the top, which you can save as a quick access menu. If you press and hold, of course, you can also swap them out. So for example, I could take the light function here and swap it for the trunk. And then I have the light function here. But you can even put 5 elements in that spot. I'll show you now how that works. It works like this. You press and hold again, then the selection menu opens. Now you take a button and slide it all the way to the right. So really, let me show you. It doesn't always work. You really have to experiment a bit with it. So all the way to the right. Now it worked. Do you see it? And then you have 5 elements. If I press away here now, I have it in the selection field. 5 elements that I can always access directly from the smartphone app. Really cool. But another really nice feature is, imagine you're abroad, someone calls you and says, "Hey, can I take your Tesla for a spin?" But that person doesn't have a Tesla key, so no key card. Maybe someone needs to quickly move the Tesla out of a no parking zone and you're not there yourself. Then you can simply say, "Hey, I'll unlock the car for you remotely." But I can also start the car remotely. Here too, you just need to open the corresponding selection field once. And then there's the start option here. And just like that, the vehicle is active. Now someone sitting in the car can simply drive off with the Tesla. As soon as that person gets out, the function deactivates itself and won't be valid the next time. But basically, you can start the vehicle for someone from anywhere in the world as long as the car has an internet connection. In the climate menu, you can easily adjust the airflow with your finger. Everyone knows that. But what not everyone knows is that if you use 2 fingers here and pull them apart, you can actually adjust the width of the airflow. And you can split the stream in 2, so you get warm or cold air to the left and right at the same time. That's very practical because this way you can, for example, heat the left window and the interior of the vehicle at the same time. When you take delivery of a Tesla, there are only a few shortcut menus at the bottom. If you want, for example, to activate the seat heater or the steering wheel heater without having to go through the climate menu here, but instead have them directly as shortcuts down here like I do, all you have to do is press and hold any of the lower menus for a moment. Then a selection menu opens up here, and then you can easily, for example, remove the seat heater by pressing the X. Or I can simply take it from up here and drag it back down here, and this way you can really customize the menu to your liking. While we're talking about the shortcut menu, definitely add this symbol, the Dashcam, down here as well, so just press and hold here. And drag the Dashcam down here for yourself, from up here so that you have it within easy reach. Because if you ever get involved in an accident or almost in an accident, and you want to save the video of that dangerous situation, then you need to press this button while driving, because only then can you be sure that the video will actually be saved. Let me show you how it works. I'm driving right now, I'm in drive, and now I just want to save the last few sequences permanently. So I press this button here once, and then you see Save Dashcam Video. And the clip is now saved. And I can then watch it in park mode as well. This is really very important, because if you ever get into an accident, you don't want to end up not having saved the recording. If you're listening to music in the car, you can adjust it using these buttons here to turn the volume up or down, but I actually find it almost more convenient to just swipe here. So you can really just go over the button here and simply swipe as well. So you don't have to tap each one individually. You can also just use a simple swipe gesture here. In the navigation system, you can save your home and your workplace. Just save them once. Once you've done that, there's a really convenient way, no matter where you are at the moment. The only thing you have to do when you're out and want to navigate home is simply swipe right or down on this field. So you don't have to type anything in anymore. You also don't have to press here and then select home, just swipe right, done. And the navigation to work or home will start immediately. Since I'm currently near my home, it immediately suggests work as my destination. If I'm at work or somewhere else, swiping right will navigate directly home. Something you might also know from Google Maps is that you can navigate directly to any place by simply searching for it on the map, then pressing and holding your finger on it. Then a pin is basically dropped and you can navigate to that spot. And that works just like in Google Maps, also in the Tesla. Or you can also mark the location as a favorite. And then it will navigate directly there. Everyone knows this. You want to enter a street with a house number, but the street is really, really long. And then I have to type out the entire street name, for example, Berliner Straße. And then, for example, I can select number 14. Then it recognizes that. But what's much easier is to start with the house number. So here 14. And then it will already be suggested. So it's much more convenient to always start with the house number, because then you don't have to type out the whole street name. Instead, you'll immediately get suggestions for all streets with similar names that have a house number 14. You know how it is? You often find a destination on your smartphone and now you want to navigate there. Then I can simply open this destination in Google Maps and then go to the right to share. And now I just say, hey, share this with my Tesla by tapping on the Tesla app. And there you go, it's sent to the vehicle and the navigation starts right away, like here, for example, to TK Maxx. Meanwhile, the option to avoid highways has finally been added, so now I can navigate to any place I want. I'll just do that now. For example, I'll just navigate here and then I can tap the 3 dots at the bottom. And now, under Settings and Edit Route, I can adjust various things. In Settings, I can now, among other things, choose to avoid highways. And since driving outside of highways is usually cheaper with electric cars, it often makes a lot of sense. Besides, it's often more fun to drive off the highways, so you can now do that here through the settings. You probably know this too. When you use the turn signal, you get the blind spot camera here, which is really, really great. But if you have a split screen, it might bother you here because you can't see the map completely. If that's the case, you can simply use your finger to grab this image while signaling. And as you can see, you can move it here or there. Just drag it to the desired spot and let go. And whenever you signal in that direction now, you'll see that the blind spot camera appears exactly where you previously moved it. A very useful feature that many people don't fully take advantage of is voice control. To use it, depending on your vehicle, you need to press the symbol for voice control. For example, with the old Model Y, you simply have to briefly hold down the right scroll wheel and then the voice control opens. And there are now many commands here that people don't know about. Just give it a try. The car is really capable of a lot. Of course, I can always say the location I want to navigate to, but I can also, for example, open the glove compartment. I can fold in the wing mirrors. I can open the charging port. Open the charging port. Close the charging port. But you can also request any song you like, for example. Games by Helene Fischer, Breathless. And you see he's looking for the melody, and it starts directly with the corresponding song. Breathless Through the Night. When you get out of the car, you usually want the steering wheel to move forward a bit and the seat to move back a little, so it's easier to get in and out. That's exactly what the Easy Entry profile is for. You can basically set a position that you want to have. To do this, go to the profile settings, select your profile, and say you want to use Easy Entry with your profile. Now it's saved. Now I shift into drive. The steering wheel moves towards me and my seat moves a bit forward. If I now press the brake again, I'm going to engage the parking brake here. The steering wheel moves further forward and the seat moves further back, and I can get out much more easily. You can also set up the Easy Entry profile to your liking. To do this, you need to be in the Easy Entry profile, and now you can adjust the steering wheel, the mirrors, the seat, and so on, just like normal. For example, I go to the steering wheel here and say I want the steering wheel all the way down now, for example, and then I can save this setting here, and then this steering wheel position will be saved for the Easy Entry profile. The same thing, of course, also works with the seat adjustment. What's even cooler, imagine you're loading up the car, you've just bought a wardrobe, and you need to move both seats a bit further forward. Normally, you'd have to crawl forward again and move each seat forward or backward individually. I have a personal tip for this. Set up a profile and call it, for example, Transport or Transport Profile. And in this profile, you move the seats accordingly. Move both seats as far forward as possible. Of course, the driver's seat only as far as you can still drive, but the passenger seat can be moved all the way forward and tilted completely. And then, when you're about to load the car, you simply select the Transport Profile at the top. The seats move forward and you can conveniently load the car from the back. I've now selected the Transport Profile, and as you can see, I'm being moved all the way forward. That way, in an emergency, I could drive a short distance home from the furniture store. Of course, it's not the most comfortable, but I don't have to adjust it manually. The seats just move forward automatically when I select the corresponding Transport Profile. Definitely an important and useful feature. If you ever find yourself with the Tesla on a really steep hill and you're worried that even though the car hardly ever rolls away, it still might, there's always a parking brake you can activate manually. To do this, simply press and hold a button here. On the old Model Y, it's right here, and you'll see what happens on the display. You'll notice that a P lights up here in the corner for park. That means the handbrake is now really firmly engaged. You will almost never need it, but if you ever park on a steep hill, it's better to engage the parking brake just in case. And as a little tip, you can also use the parking brake to bring the vehicle to an abrupt stop while driving. So, if, as a passenger, you ever need to intervene in traffic, say for example the driver is unconscious, you can press the parking brake while driving and the car will come to a stop. A very important tip, in my opinion. Everyone knows that you can open a Tesla's door conveniently at the push of a button. But what do you do if the electronics fail and you can't open the door? In that case, there's an emergency release lever which is located down here. If you pull this lever, well, it's not a button, but a mechanical lever. If you lift it from underneath, let me show you from the back, you can lift it here, and then the door will also open. I'll demonstrate it once, and as you can see, the door opens. The big disadvantage, however, is that the window doesn't, like with the button, move down a little. And so it's actually not very good for the door. So please only do this in an emergency if there's no other way. I did it once now for the video, but you really shouldn't do it if you can avoid it. Always use the electronic button instead to open the door. The Tesla app is already really cool, but have you heard about the Tesla App Widget? With the widget, you have direct access to certain functions that you select down here in the app. So the 5 icons you have here, you always see them directly in the widget. I especially like to use it to simply lock and unlock the vehicle without having to open the app, because I can do that directly from the widget. All you have to do to create such a widget is press and hold somewhere on the desktop and then select widgets at the bottom. At least that's how it works on Android smartphones. And then you select the appropriate Tesla widget. You can also search for it at the top. So just search for Tesla here, and then the Tesla app will appear. And then you'll see all the widgets that the app offers. There are several different ones. You can really choose all sorts of things here. Of course, you now have to find the right one. Here it is at the bottom. You see, at the moment, there's a small widget like this for Android. It also has the advantage that you can always see the battery level directly, for example, whether Sentry mode is on, and most importantly, whether the vehicle is locked. Or you just take this widget, tap on Add, and then it will simply be projected onto your desktop. Just like it is for me right now. Today it's cold outside and the sun isn't shining at all. But if it ever does get very sunny or hot, and if you want to move the sun visor over to the side, of course you can do that. As you know from other cars, you release the sun visor and fold it back here. But what's especially cool, and not every car can do this, many can but not all, is that you can also slide the sun visor here. And then you have shade right here at the corner, because often that's exactly where the sun shines through. And this way you can really shade everything in the back as well. I think it's a really cool feature that you wouldn't necessarily think of right away. Having the smartphone app is really very practical. But if you have several family members, you might also want other family members to have access to the Tesla. To do this, you can simply add additional drivers in your Tesla app. I'll show you how it works. You scroll down quite a bit, and under Security and Drivers, you tap on it, and then down here you go to Manage Drivers. Here you can see Angelina, whom I've also added here before. I could also remove the driver now. In that case, I could also deny my wife access to the Tesla, but I can also add more drivers. If I now tap on Add Driver, I get a message asking if I want to create an invitation. Then I tap on Create, and now an invitation is generated. I can even send this via WhatsApp, by SMS, or simply copy the link. And then I can send the link to someone. That person will then receive the message with the corresponding link, just needs to click on it, download the app, and log in. And then they also have access to the Tesla. 2 tips about the windshield wipers. The first is, add the windshield wiper as a widget at the bottom, because if the wipers are already running and the windshield is already dry, and you don't want to wear out the wipers unnecessarily, you can just tap here and turn them off directly, without the wipers having to swipe one more time. Otherwise, I have to activate the windshield wiper once using the button behind the steering wheel, and then the wiper will run. And while it's running, that's when I first see this menu. And then I can, for example, set the wiper to a slower speed or turn it off. If I have the shortcut right here, I can do it directly without the wiper being activated even once. But what I actually want to tell you is that when you activate the windshield wiper and the menu opens, you don't have to select the desired level with your finger. You can do it using the scroll wheel on the steering wheel. Depending on which Model Y you have, this works on either the left or right side. But you can adjust it yourself directly here, and that's really, really practical, because this way you don't get distracted from traffic by trying to hit those small numbers down here. Instead, I can now use the scroll wheel here. Let me show you. Just turn it up and down. So as I turn it here, the menu adjusts over there. Now I'm going to select one here, and then it already starts. You're actually not supposed to do that. But as you can see, I can do it very easily here with the scroll wheel, and that's much less distracting while driving. If you're using Autopilot, say you're driving at 50, and now there's a 60 sign coming up. And if you want the speed to be adopted, you can just tap the 60 here once. Then the speed will be set with the previously configured tolerance. Of course, what you can also do is simply hold the Autopilot lever down briefly, and that will also set the current speed. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tips and tricks. If so, then please be sure to give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and activate the little bell. Feel free to tune in again next time, and I would be happy if you take a look at the video description. For example, I have a Tesla referral code for you there. So if you want to buy a Tesla, you can get a discount on your Tesla with my discount code. Depending on what's currently valid, it's either free kilometers or even an actual cash amount. For example, you'll also find the link to the THG quota. If you drive an electric car, you should definitely apply for it once a year. At the moment, it's about 160 euros for the year 2026, but that always changes a bit. You'll find it in the video description, so feel free to check it out. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you by Shop for Tesla. At shopfortesla.com, you'll find plenty of accessories for your Tesla. Just take a look at the website below. In the video description, you'll find the discount code SMART2DRIVE. With it, you'll get 5% off every one of your orders. Have fun shopping.